making sure that our commitments translate into concrete and tangible results, not only for our governments, not only for our businesses, not only for our governments, not only for our businesses, but also for our people, whom we are here to serve and whom we are indebted to. Therefore, we are particularly pleased to see that this was a constructive meeting and that our teams will be liaising and working towards these very concrete deadlines to make sure that the next BNC is one that translates into concrete results, including in regards to flagship projects and flagship sectors, starting with the Grand Inga Power Project and the potential that it will unleash not only for the DRC and for South Africa, but also for the entire SADC region. We believe that it is through joint partnerships like this one that we can also contribute to greater shared prosperity throughout our SADC region, which we also have a responsibility and commitment to. Speaking of responsibility and commitment, I would like to seize this opportunity once more to express our profound gratitude as the Democratic Republic of the Congo towards the government and, more importantly, the people of South Africa for their unwavering commitment and solidarity with the DRC in some of the most challenging times that our country is going through, times that are putting our friendships and our alliances to the test, to a robust test, times that are even putting international law and international peace to the challenge. And throughout these times, you have stood firmly at our side, unwaveringly, despite the important and tragic losses that your country has encountered. We will forever be indebted to South Africa for its solidarity and for the sacrifices of its noble men and women. I want this to be clear, said, and reiterated. This is a debt that will go beyond generations, and this is a debt that will forge our ties together forever. We look forward to the efforts that will be made to charter a way out of the crisis through the panel of facilitators, and we look forward and we welcome the fact that within this panel of facilitators, we also have an honorable veteran from South Africa. We count on resolute and principled approaches to help us find a durable solution to the crisis, and look forward to engaging in the same constructive manner that has always characterized our relationships with you. And so, looking ahead, I think that we can conclude this very fruitful meeting with the perspective of standing together right now in these very trying and challenging times, but also with the promise, the commitment, and the resolve to stand together for the opportunities, to stand together for the potential that we have yet to tap into, a potential that is to bring greater prosperity to our countries and to our people. And for that, I could not wish for a better partner and a better brother to accompany me. So once again, my dear brother, Honorable Minister, my sincere thanks to you, to your entire team and your delegation, and we look forward to the next steps, and we look forward to taking this partnership and this alliance to the next level and making sure that our people are at the center of our fruitful relationship and benefit from it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ministers, for those moving remarks. I hope our colleagues from the media are also moved. With that, I would like to open for a row of questions. Please raise your hand. When noted, then state the media house that you are from and your question. I think ministers will take a cluster of questions, and you'll just note down the questions and then respond to the whole cluster. Please be clear who you're directing your question to as well. Ms. Makwena and Ms. Duplessis.
Yes, South Africa has done a lot of work and demonstrated commitment to ensuring that DRC is at peace since the commitment started with the then late former President Mandela and up to now. But the reality is you cannot achieve peace when you exclude a section of the community. And South Africa is a clear case in point. When the black majority was excluded, there was no peace and better development in the country. Now, in the eastern part of the DRC, both the EAC and SADC and international community is saying you will not have peace unless you include M23 and other forces. And the president of the DRC, I spoke to him in Namibia, he is still calling M23 the terrorists. How do you engage with terrorists while the summit in Harare has indicated that all non-state actors must be included in a peace process?
Okay, no, it's better now. Thanks, Crispin. Good afternoon, ministers. It's Karine du Plessis from the Africa Report. I have a question for Minister Wagner. What role, we saw your previous president, former President Kabila visiting South Africa and speaking to our former president. What role is he playing in the peace negotiations? What is his function? And perhaps both ministers, the peace talks, we have a few different processes happening, or it seems to us from the outside. There was the talks in Qatar. That is working in conjunction with those talks. How processes, are they related? How do they fit into each other?
Perfect. Thank you so much for these very pertinent questions. I will start with the question from the colleague from SABC. And you make a valid point. I think, especially in a place like South Africa, we are very cognizant of the fact that, the Rainbow Nation, a nation cannot be built through exclusion. But I do want to emphasize certain aspects. When it comes, and I do not want to draw any, historic comparisons. The issue that we have with the M23 is the claim that it represents a section of the Congolese population that, according to the M23, is marginalized. Now, the first point when we want to look at marginalization is looking at instruments, is looking at how the state behaves. The Democratic Republic of the Congo can boast itself of having an ethnic diversity of over 450 ethnic groups, of which some can consider themselves minorities and others majorities, but when you are so many, no one is really a majority. Actually, what you are is Congolese from the beginning to the end. And we have always sought this through policy that seeks to be inclusive. Now, if there is a perception of neglect or of a treatment that is not as favorable as the treatment that others receive, then there are avenues and ways to express that. We have freedom. We have free elections that we hold in a regular intervals, and everyone is free to participate through those channels. There are also, through customary law, different ways to participate. The issue that we find ourselves in right now is that maybe a legitimate issue of inclusion is being instrumentalized for gains that do not seek inclusion or protection of these minorities. There are very clear and loud voices in the DRC that say very clearly, we are Banyamulenge and we did not ask Rwanda to come here. So it is of a certain complexity when an issue of a community is used as a pretext to violate international law, and it is a very slippery slope. Now, we are in a situation where countless of lives have been lost. Because when the bombs fall, they do not look at which community you are from. and over 6,000 have been killed alone in Goma. And we want to find a way out of it. You mentioned the issue of M23 and the inclusion of M23 in peace talks. And I think that we have, despite the immense political cost, we have made the responsible choice as a government to say, when President Lorenzo of Angola said there will be a meeting between the Congolese government and the M23 in Luanda, we made the important and historical choice to show up. Just as we had made the important and historical choice to show up when President Lorenzo invited the heads of state of the DRC and of Angola and of Rwanda to Luanda in December. We show up. When it comes to peace, when it comes to our people, we show up. But the other side also has to show up. And so as we embark, again, as I said, with this team of co-facilitators, we do so with the hope that this will reinvigorate also the motivation of all stakeholders to truly show up for peace. If we are sincere about protecting communities, if we are sincere about protecting human lives, then we need to show up. The government of the DRC will not tire of showing up for its people and showing up for peace. And I think we have demonstrated it despite the important political cost that it may have had domestically. So I hope this answers your question. I know that there are a lot of layers that we could peel off, but I think this is a general position that sheds light on our commitment to peace and commitment to charting our way out of this crisis. The second question from the Africa report on the role of Honorary President Joseph Kabila. Well, there is no foreseen role for now, as we speak, in the ongoing efforts and the ongoing quest for a solution to the crisis. I think, we all have our experiences as countries that go through elections. We are also countries that live with the reality of having former presidents. In certain cases, some are more vocal, some are more active, and in other cases, less so. This is just a reality of a democracy. When you live in a democracy, when you choose to have an alternance of power, then you also choose to have former presidents. Sometimes they are more vocal, sometimes they are active. We live with that reality, just as these presidents have to live with the heritage of their own accomplishments or shortcomings. So this is completely normal that, he may want to be active or visible, and he may interact with some of his former peers. We respect that, but for the moment, there is one president in the DRC. His name is Félix Antoine Tshisekedi Chilombo, and we remain resolved as a democracy to continue functioning that way. The different processes, I think we have to see them as efforts that are all good faith efforts that lead and try to charter the way again towards a solution, not to be seen as competing with one another, but rather complementary to one another. And I think despite some of the interrogations that the meeting in Qatar may have triggered, this was the spirit of that meeting, truly to trigger further commitment, further engagement and mobilization of the different stakeholders so that we keep the momentum and so that the momentum translates into concrete actions on the ground, concrete actions including an immediate ceasefire and a withdrawal of forces to, first of all, spare human lives. So I think that also sheds light into the different efforts that we all welcome, because it is a testament to the fact that the crisis in the DRC is one that has not gone unnoticed, and it is one that has triggered the commitment but also the mobilization of many important stakeholders. We welcome that, and we welcome the fact that they all subscribe in the same logic of finding a sustainable and durable solution to the crisis. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. From our perspective, on the first question, Sophie, we support the outcomes of the East Africa Community and the SADC Summit with regards to the engagement of state actors and non-state actors in the conflict in the Eastern DRC. and we continue to call for all parties to allow that process to unfold and to cooperate with that process of engagement. And this includes the government of the DRC. It includes the government of Rwanda. It includes also all the non-state actors in the area, which includes the M23. We view this also in the context that it should continue to respect and preserve the sovereign integrity of the Democratic Republic of Congo as a sovereign state, and all the engagements must lead towards finding a long-lasting peace for the people of the DRC. And it is in this context that we continue to participate in those platforms so that the facilitators and the peace initiators must find a long-lasting a solution. And with regards to the process of the East Africa community and the process that is led was SADC, and that one that was led by President Lorenzo, you will remember the resolution of the PRC was to merge the processes that was led by President Lorenzo and the process that was led by President Kenyatta to be consolidated into one process that can be complementary. But even before it was merged, the two presidents were working very well together to find all the parties, because President Kenyatta was dealing more with the non-state actors, engaging with the internal groups in the DRC, and President Lorenzo was dealing more with the issues related to the DRC and Rwanda, including the overall process. But the PRC of the AU has now merged this process together, and the East Africa and the SADC has now also added those that must help to assist the process to facilitate that engagement and that merged process. So for us, this is one process that will be consolidated and that will be run. We are hopeful that soon the AU will announce the replacement of President Lorenzo, who has now want to focus more on his overall role as the chairperson of the African Union. But all this process will be consolidated and into one and will be complementary. And any other process outside this should act to complement this process, to reinforce it, to achieve the objectives that have been put forward by the African Union and the objectives that have been put forward by the two regional bodies, which is the East Africa and the SADC regions, because we want to have homegrown African solutions to the challenges that we have, and any other process must complement that and reinforce it to achieve those objectives. Thank you. I think I have covered all the questions that needed me.
Okay, thank you, Ministers. I'll open for the last round and follow-up questions, if any. I see. Okay, let's start with this side. A new row of hands. Turkmen, Hillary. Was your hand up, sir? Behind you, Hillary. Okay, yeah, you may proceed.
Turkmen Terzi, representing Turkish Minute. Madam Minister, my question to you, Qatar and Turkey, Qatar is mediating now. And Turkey, President Kagame, Rwanda President visited Turkey and Turkish President said we can mediate. But Kagame visited armed drone factories in Turkey. So Qatar and Turkey have no presence in Southern Africa and they are faraway countries. Why they are so keen to mediate between DRC and Rwanda? Thank you.
Good afternoon, Ministers. This is Hilary Rinder from the global news agency AFP. This morning you earlier shared in the call for kind of like saying that the situation in DRC is a cause of concern. So to Minister Wagner, how much are you guys coping without the support of SADC, who are pulling the soldiers from your country? And to Minister Lamola, you vowed more support to DRC. Do you want to explain more? What does the support include? Does it also include military support, or what does the support from South Africa to DRC include?
Is that me for a second round? Karine du Plessis, the Africa Report again. Yeah, my question is also about the support. Perhaps it would have been a question for the Defence Minister to ask, but the collaboration on the defence front, what kind of collaboration will that be? And is there talk of any kind of deployment, or is this more in terms of something else? And then, Minister Wagner, again, you had about a month ago this campaign about football teams trying to discourage countries to sponsor Rwandan football teams. I just would like to know an update on that. I think you were successful in some regards. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want clarity, Minister. There were reports that President Kabila is engaging the Americans in terms of almost an exchange in relation to the mineral rights or access to the minerals of DRC, with the hope of getting security support. How far true are those allegations? Almost like what Russia, Ukraine and America is engaged in terms of the talks to ensure that you end the war.
Maybe some of you may want to correct President Tshisekedi, not Kabila.
It's because, sorry, President Tshisekedi, I'm sorry, because I've got a question on President Kabila also, former President Kabila. So I just want you to clarify that those reports. And then on former President Kabila, he is saying, yes, you have these processes outside, the Luanda talks, the Nairobi talks, now the Qatar involvement, but within the DRC, the Congolese themselves, a national dialogue. Maybe that can be led by senior people in the DRC to ensure that, as you pointed out, all these different ethnic groups in the DRC, they work together with government and those who are in power to ensure there's peace. Because at the end of the day, it boils down to Congolese themselves. Other people can help from outside, but it's all about the Congolese who are suffering. What's your view on that? The national dialogue, not necessarily international and regional interventions.
Perfect. Thank you so much. If you allow me, I will start with the last question and work my way back up. So the issue, and I know there's been a lot of speculation around, a potential mineral deal between the U.S. and the DRC. I think we need to be cognizant of one reality. It is that we as a DRC have always had very good relationships with the United States of America. We find ourselves in a situation where there is a new incoming administration, and it is totally normal that in such a situation you review partnerships, you review issues that you have been working on. Now, the specific issue of minerals, of course, it garners a lot of attention because, how do I say, this is a commodity, if you want, that is so key and essential to so many of the industrial and technological barriers that we face as a world. Now, the DRC engages in very constructive and robust conversations with many of its partners, also on minerals, not just the United States of America. I would say that this has garnered attention and this has been a bit amplified through the media because it is an incoming administration on the side of the United States. But we have very robust and very profitable relationships and dealings with other countries when it comes to natural resources and critical minerals. And so we engage in the same spirit of trying to build partnerships and attract investment to our country in a way that benefits our country, that benefits our local market, and that benefits our communities. So these are the conversations that are ongoing with the United States of America. They have not been concluded yet, and it is a process, just as it is a process that we have with other countries or with other regional organizations. And so I will not add more to that until we have something concluded, but it is nothing out of the ordinary. It is something that we do frequently with our different partners because we are cognizant of the fact that there is a lot of attention and a lot of interest in the natural resources and the mineral wealth of the DRC. The question on former President Joseph Kabila and his musings on the pertinence of a national dialogue. Again, as I said, we are a country that has espoused democracy. It is completely normal in a country that has espoused democracy and freedom of speech that different members of society contribute to public debate, and this is how we see former President Kabila's contribution. It's a contribution to a public debate. The crisis that we're facing right now is a security crisis. It is a crisis that is an attack to our territorial integrity and to our sovereignty, and this is the utmost priority. Now, issues linked to the peaceful cohabitation and national cohesion in the DRC are, of course, of interest and of priority to us, but our main focus right now is first to resolve this crisis, and it is also to strengthen the institutions that have been partly even built and inherited from former President Kabila, that are institutions that are inclusive by their laws, by their instruments, by their mechanisms, and that maybe need to be strengthened to ensure that we have greater cohesion, that we have greater inclusivity, but that we believe can withstand the test of time and the test that we are currently facing. And if need be, they will be strengthened. The priority for us right now is reestablishing our territorial integrity, our sovereignty, and especially putting an end to the security crisis that has cost thousands of human lives unnecessarily. On the question regarding from Africa Report, the two questions, the collaboration on the defense front, well, you know, we were just mentioning that we have had a fruitful political consultation. Our colleagues from defense have also had their consultations, but they literally happened back to back. We haven't had a full opportunity to debrief completely. So I think this is evolving, and it's, again, completely normal for partners to have ongoing conversations on many sectors, and I wouldn't draw too much speculation on that matter. And I'm sure also that our colleagues from the defense will certainly issue their statement and be able to provide and shed more light on what they have discussed in detail. We haven't had the opportunity to delve into that just yet. The football teams, well, it's not just the football teams, and that coming from a person who doesn't know a lot about football, but still. I do know something about human rights, so this is how I got into that conversation. We have had mixed results. We have had responses from some of the clubs. Bayern München, we believe, took a bold step by saying that they were sending a team to Rwanda to visit, well, actually to literally visit Rwanda, and have, you know, engage in conversations with their partners there, but have also sought out the opinions, I believe, of the German Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I think this is the key. It's about also triggering curiosity with the different stakeholders and making sure that they engage in robust conversations. And we were of the opinion that this very central aspect of a robust conversation and a robust confrontation of the reality on the ground was missing, and this was our contribution to a very important conversation that we have also initiated with Formula One, and where we have also received responses telling us that they were also engaged in this reflection. So I think this is for us already a step forward. The question from AFP in regards to the withdrawal of SADC, you know, the decision of SADC troop contributing countries was a totally legitimate one, and we fully respect it. I think the emphasis that was placed, and that is very valid, is making sure that this is something that is gradual, that is something that is coordinated and that is controlled, and we fully respect that decision. We are also cognizant of the fact that these were extremely difficult conditions under which troop contributing countries were put, and that continue to persist. Again, in some cases in violation of international law, which we have denounced at many opportunities. And this is the living proof of it, the fact that we, not just within SADC, but also at a bilateral level, myself and my colleague from South Africa engage in these conversations because it means that we remain engaged and we are working towards paving the way through a safe, coordinated exit to make sure that, you know, we are on the same page. We respect fully the concerns of each party, and we make sure that this next chapter is ushered in a coordinated and in a controlled manner. So I think this spirit remains through the framework of SADC. And I believe the first question, which is now the last question I'm answering, is why Turkey and Qatar are so keen to mediate in Eastern DRC. I don't know. And I know I frustrated a lot of journalists, but I do not like speculating. I believe that over 6,000 dead civilians is a reason enough to want to mediate. And for me, I will take that as a reason. Their motivation to see an end to unnecessary human suffering is for me reason enough, and I will not go further. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, my dear sister. I think I only have one or two questions, not many. With regards to the cooperation and support, as you will have seen, the consultation was to review and look into how far we have moved in terms of our BNC cooperation. And the BNC constitutes a number of corporations: military, trade, agriculture, aviation, mining, and so forth. So the BNC incorporates all those issues. So that is what we are reviewing, starting the process. The BNC will be here in South Africa to be hosted by us. So this is the initial stage and process to review all those agreements, to ensure that those agreements remain in force. And where there are challenges, we amend, review, and take into cognizance of the evolving situation, either in trade, either in aviation, or in all the aspects of cooperation, which includes military cooperation, because we also have military cooperation agreements with the DRC. So we are looking at all those agreements, which will now be reviewed, finalized in the next BNC that will take place and be hosted by us later this year. So that was the key aspect of the engagement and the discussion. And whether we have abandoned the DRC, no, we haven't abandoned the DRC, either as South Africa or as SADC. Because as she has explained, the decision was taken at a multilateral body, and it was explained by SADC all the reasons and what is the process of the gradual phasing out, the confidence-building measures, the call for the ceasefire, the call for the reopening of the Goma airport, the reopening of all humanitarian routes, the cessation of hostilities by all the non-state actors and the state actors in the area. So all those has been explained by the SADC and also the East Africa community, and ourselves as a troop contributing country, we are also taking the leaf from that context. So that is where we are. We, as South Africa at a bilateral level, continue to work with the DRC. And this engagement here today is testament to that we are continuing to deepen our relations on various aspects of our